Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome for this webinar, and for the first time on LinkedIn. We will just start now, and I'm Morgan, working from the Poseidon Principles for Marine Insurance Secretariat and at the Global Maritime Forum, and we are very happy to have you today. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome for this webinar, and for the first time on LinkedIn. We will just start now, and yes, excuse me for that. Yes, so we're very happy to have you all around. This session is recorded, and you can use your question in the comments section. So please feel free to use it all along the way, and we'll have time in the end to answer your question, and we'll have 1 hour together. Yes, so why we are here today, basically, I will just pass along to the next slide. So we're here because we are just launched the 3rd annual disclosure report of the Poseidon Principles for Marine Insurance. And today we are very happy to have 3 speakers that have joined us to share with you more about this milestone. So we'll have today Patricia Ken, who is the chair of the Poseidon Principles for Marine Insurance, that will be with us. Also, we have Mr. Yu Deng, that is General Manager Assistant at Costco Shipping Captive Insurance, and an affiliate member to the Poseidon Principles for Marine Insurance with us today. And Sigvald Fossum, the Vice President and Head of Analytics at GARD AS, and our Technical Committee Chair within the Poseidon Principles for Marine Insurance. So the idea of today is just to explore more about this report. And yeah, just as an introduction, also, I will just connect how the principles are connected with the how it all started, basically, in a nutshell. So the initiative has been launched in December 2021, and it's hosted by the Global Maritime Forum Secretariat. And it's very related to other initiatives here, which are the Poseidon Principles for Financial Institutions and the Chicago Charter. And it's all about climate alignment and collaboration within the whole ecosystem of shipping. And it's really about fostering transparency and showing what we can improve, and thanks to measuring, basically. Yes, so best to hear directly from our chair, actually, about marine insurance, decarbonization, and what are exactly the Poseidon Principles for Marine Insurance. So I will just pass the floor to Patricia. If you could tell us more about, this initiative, basically.
Thank you very much, Morgan, and good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Morgan, I don't see the slides.
Let me check where you can see those, and maybe I can share you. Yes, let me check, because you should be able to see them. Did you? Otherwise, we have sent it, and we are on the slide.
I know, but I want to know which slide is on.
Yes, it's the slide number 4.
Okay, good. Sorry for this. It's really important to underline how important the international shipping industry is for the global trade, creating millions of jobs and ensuring the efficient movement of goods. However, these activities are not without an impact on climate, as shipping account for about 2 to 3% of global greenhouse gases emission. Just 1 second. As we see here on this slide, what is marine insurance? First of all, in marine insurance, we have all the machinery, we have cargo, we have war risk, we have the freight, we have the liabilities. Our clients are the ship owner, the cargo owner, the charterer, the buyer, the importer, and the exporter. And between the insurance company and the clients, there is always a broker. Very important are the P&I club. They play a fundamental role in our industry by providing liability coverage to the ship owner on a mutual basis. As such, for the insurance industry in general, the role of transparency is extremely important. And we need to be able to always measure what we insure. Next slide. Marine insurance, as such, as you have seen here on the first slide, is a unique position to support the decarbonization. Fundamentally, we give protection because we are ensuring the safety of individual and the environment, while safeguarding against potential losses is vital, especially during crisis situation. The insurance industry is really there to de-risk any type of situation where the world is in distress. We do it via risk management and mitigation. And for us, it is really essential to understand and address the climate-related and decarbonization risk, including the insurance of emerging technologies, alternative fuel, and retrofitted vessels. The insurance industry is committed to supporting our client and the international shipping industry in their decarbonization effort. We align with the climate goal established by the global regulator, such as the International Maritime Organization, the IMO. We will talk a lot about it today, while we promote also the transparency in accordance with the EU Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directly. This is the CSRD. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. What are the Poseidon Principles? The Poseidon Principles were established to navigate this changing landscape. The Poseidon Principle for marine insurance is a framework tailored for insurance in collaboration with the Global Maritime Forum. The Poseidon Principle provides a framework for measuring and reporting emission and promotes collaboration. Very important. It's the IMO that set out the strategy and the overall targets for the decarbonization of the industry. It is not as insurance company imposing new regulation on our client, the ship owners. But we, as member of the Poseidon Principle, are focusing on promoting the decarbonization of shipping by aligning insurance practice with the IMO. It serves as a guide for the 3 global initiatives developed through collaboration between the industry and the Global Maritime Forum, and it's supported by advisory members. Are the members of the Poseidon Principle? we have 9 signatories. These are insurers that write hull and machinery. What is the hull and machinery? We provide insurance for physical damages to the ship. We have 10 affiliate members. These are brokers, collective group, insurance association, union, captive, P&I club that support the principle. It is spread in 10 countries. If you look at this map, very clearly there is a very high concentration in Europe, as well as in Asia. But in fairness, we have to say that the largest part of the hull market, we count with 80%, is in this part of the world. Having said that, our ambition is to really implement and extend the regional spread of our initiative. The next slide, I think it's a very important slide, because there was a lot of misunderstanding about what the Poseidon Principles were. It was like we were imposing new standard. We are not imposing any new standard. We are just supporting the implementation of the standard that are agreed and decided by the International Maritime Organization. On our side, we want to demonstrate commitment through the transparency. We want to create a dialogue, and we want also to be in a position to support our client in their decarbonization journey. This journey is going to be a very expensive journey for the shipping company, and we want to be there with them. On top, we have also our reporting duty that we cannot delegate to other entities. Now I give the word to Morgan that will share a little bit more detail about what are the climate alignment score.
Many thanks, Patricia. Indeed, it's just to just give you more of background on what are exactly the climate alignment score, because this is all about what are about the principles. And so just to give you a quick overview, you can see on the left side, we have the actual emissions of some vessels. And so when you are a signatory, basically you will have a look to your fleet that is within scope, and then see how much emissions are emitting the different vessel depending on their segments. So yeah, of course, depending on the distance that has been sailed, different events, the emissions can be very different. And so they need to collect this data for all vessels, and then they can compare this actual emission, so the emission that has really happened, with the allotted emission. And the allotted emission, they are the ones that are based on the IMO latest greenhouse gas strategy, so which aim for net zero ambition by 2050. So you can see on the right the two trajectories that are set by the IMO, the minimum and the striving ones. So those are the allotted emission. And basically, the idea is then to compare the actual emission and the allotted emission. And this will give you a score for each vessel type and vessels, which is a climate alignment score. So you can see an example where there is one which is minus 24%, which means that this vessel is aligned and below the expectation that were set by the IMO, and another one which is a plus 18%, which means that they are misaligned with the expectation and not with the ambition of the IMO set for a given year, basically. So this is done vessel by vessel, and then you repeat that for each of the trajectories. And then you have also, depending on the different weight in your portfolio, you come with two final scores actually, which are the climate alignment score at portfolio level. And in this example, you can see how it is reflected on the graph, where you have the trajectories set by the IMO and the different scores vis-a-vis those trajectories, and in this case where it's misaligned. So that was just to show how it was working, and I will give you the floor back to you, Patricia, on some key takeaways from this third report launch 2 weeks ago.
Thank you very much, Morgan. First, this year, the 9 signatories reported 25% of the total dead weight of world fleet within the reported scope. As per score, this means that on average, the climate alignment score were plus 20.8% misaligned with the IMO minimum ambition in 2023, and plus 30.8 against its striving trajectory, as you can see in the figure on the screen. But these scores are in line with the current industry emission. This is indicating that the effort ahead and the need for collaboration from the full value chain. This is, again, a picture of how the shipping industry look like. And from this, we understand how important it is that we work all together to reach the net zero ambition in 2050. On the next slide, we want to show you a little bit how important this year has been for the PPMI. It came with a significant update to the methodology first. During MEPC 80, the IMO set higher ambition to decarbonize in full the shipping industry by 2050, aligning with the Paris Agreement, while the previous trajectory had an ambition to reach net zero until 2070. And very important, it includes a shift from tank to wake to well to wake perspective. It means that before we were just taking into consideration the consumption of the ship itself, while today we look at the full life cycle of emission. Very important is here, we move to the use of model data to produce climate alignment. This differs from the last year, where previously the signatories had to go back to their brokers and their broker to the shipping company, their client, asking for their emission as they had reported it to the IMO. While the Sigvald will present later how this has changed with the new methodology. To make it very short, the model data use provides an expanded reporting scope and makes gathering and data calculation incredibly efficient, while before all this calculation had to be done clients by clients. If we look ahead, the priorities will be, as I said before, in expanding the membership, both on geography and entity. With the use of model data, many benefits that are challenges to consider in the future, like how the continued development of new fuel could impact this emission data. With broader access to data are expected to enhance the transparency. The PPMI will continue driving industry-wide progress and help the industry to meet the IMO decarbonization goal. Beyond PPMI, ongoing needs for enhanced transparency on shipping emission overall, which could be achieved by increased access to the IMO DCS and the development of strong international policy measures to support the transition. This is happening this week during MEPC 83. And we have trust that this will further enhance the decarbonization journey. Now I would like to give the word back to Morgan, as we will share experiences from our members. Thank you, Morgan.
Many thanks, Patricia, for this presentation and giving this insight. And then now I also want to thank all the members for the great efforts in doing this report this year. And I think it's now very good to go a bit deeper and dive into what some technical aspects that we have here, and that's what Patricia touched upon about the use of model data. And then it's my pleasure to welcome now Sigvald, who will present a bit more on how the use of model data works and a bit on his experience as a sanitary as well. Thanks, Sigvald.
Thank you, Morgan. My slides are not super technical, but I'll try to say a few words about how we got to where we are in terms of model data. For us, it's in addition to the new IMO methodology, it's certainly been a highlight to be able for us to work exclusively with model data and with our sort of preferred provider for this data, which is Ocean Score. So it's not only safeguard, but also our clients a lot of time in terms of meeting our reporting obligations. So if you could click to the next slide, please. I think you've already covered a little bit the methodology. So, but as you mentioned, so first we had to collect all this fuel consumption data, the data they otherwise report to the IMO DCS. So we had to go to each and every client to get that. And then we have to calculate their annual efficiency ratio, or for cruise and passenger ships, their so-called CG DIST. And then in the second step here, calculates the vessel alignment. So that's basically how much the AER deviates from the IMO trajectories, which are provided to us by our advisory services. And finally, we aggregate all that into one numerical result, using as a weighting methodology the ship's dead weight and our share on the hull and machinery policy. So in many ways, this is pretty, at least to me, a pretty clean and simple methodology. It's quite intuitive. The problem, however, many of us signatories felt that we had was that it took us a lot of time and effort to collect data from ship owners. So for some ship owners, this was very easy to produce to us, but for others, it took quite a bit of time. And I can mention also from Guardsend, for example, we had some 30 underwriters, obviously not full time, but 30 underwriters involved in the process of collecting data from clients. So it just wasn't very efficient. And as some of you may also know, that the ships that fell within scope in the previous methodology that we had was limited to ships where the claims leader of the ship was a PPMI signatory, which meant that we only had a pretty partial picture of what the true picture of our portfolio alignment was. And therefore, we were very pleased when we, at the last annual meeting in May last year, were able to get a unanimous agreement among PPMI signatories to allow for the use of model data. And that was not to replace the existing pathways, the preferred and allowed pathways, which require ship owner data, but adding on this third pathway where we're allowed to use model data. And maybe if you could click the next slide, please, just to then say a little bit more about how we got here. If you could click one more time, sorry. I think I've already covered the first item here in terms of requesting fuel consumption data from clients. But I think most of the signatories, we all had this feeling and hypothesis that we could actually calculate our portfolio alignment and report under PPMI using model data without compromising on precision and quality. Further, as I mentioned, we were only collecting data for ship where PPMI signatory was a claims leader, but with model data for the world fleet, we could do that for any ships, whether a signatory was the claims leader or not. And finally, using world fleet data, it means that we can benchmark ourselves, we can benchmark ships, we can benchmark different segments. So it creates additional insights for us as signatories. And having an analytics background and working for a company that strives to be a data-driven company, that's of course very motivating and compelling. But then there's of course the drawback that real data cannot replace model data, in particular for decision making, right? That will have some limitations. But then again, so does actually using the AER or the CII, if you like, for decision making. So and again, brings us a little bit back to the point of, can we use model data without compromising on the quality of our reporting results? So, but with this sort of hypothesis and idea in mind, we got the steering committee's approval to further investigate this opportunity. And what we did is that we essentially arranged this beauty contest to benchmark several providers of modeled emissions data. And key criteria was, of course, quality, but we also looked at the offerings of various providers, and of course, price was also part of the decision-making process. And additionally, given the time we would normally spend on reporting under PPMI, we also had this desire to try to make the process more efficient for our signatories. So to reduce the time that was required to produce our portfolio alignment results. So, and for GARD, for example, given that we had data from past years, real data from ship owners, we could use that data to benchmark different providers. So in our case, we had data for some real data for some 3,300 ships, which we used to compare the modeled results from each provider. So, and the takeaway we got from this process was actually pretty positive, in the sense that the differences in our portfolio alignment was actually quite marginal, and frankly not that significant given some of the assumptions we also make in our methodology. So, and long story short, after presenting our results which were validated by one of our affiliate members, CEFOR, we unanimously approved last year this third pathway, allowing us to use model data from Ocean Score. And some of you may, of course, wonder why this one provider and why not several providers. But for us collectively as signatories, we felt it was pretty important that we would benchmark ourselves or use the same model, so that any differences would not be necessarily attributed to the models as such, but rather differences in our portfolios. If you take one more, please. Yeah, so I think I've already covered that. I may also just comment that some listeners or readers of the press may be tempted to compare insurers and banks and implicitly the progress banks are making versus insurers. I think it's, however, important to highlight that there is one, although our methodology in many ways is identical as far as the annual efficiency ratio and so on, and vessel alignments is concerned, there is one key difference, which is the weighting methodology. The banks, they use the outstanding loan amount when they aggregate together everything, all the ships, into one result. Whereas as insurers, we actually use the product of the ship's deadweight and our line size, our share, of the hull and machinery policy. Further, some of the ship's financiers, even the large ship financiers, they will have something like 1,200 or 1,500 ships. By comparison, several of the PPMI signatories have more than 10,000 ships in their portfolios. So this has an impact on the overall results. So the insurers will typically tend more towards the world fleet average than would one would expect, for example, from the banks, given that the outstanding loan amount will very often be higher for new ships, whereas our involvement on ships doesn't necessarily follow age in the same way as they do for banks. And I think that was it from me, Morgan.
Thank you very much, Sigvald. And yes, always interesting to hear more from direct experience and some more precision on use of model data and as well on the differences with the Poseidon Principle for financial institutions. So thanks for this. And now, without further ado, I will pass the floor to you, Deng, and many thanks for being here today. And COSCO Shipping Captive Insurance has joined the Poseidon Principle for Marine Insurance as an affiliate member back in 2022. It means that your organization supports and contributes to the assurance ecosystem, but is not reporting the climate alignment score these days because of the scope of it. And it's the first time COSCO Shipping Captive Insurance has reported as an affiliate member, so how you are basically supporting the principle and its signatories. And you are also the first member based in China. So I would like to, if you could share with us some recent development in China that are in line with the Poseidon Principle for Marine Insurance ambition, would be great.
Thank you, Morgan. Thank you to the association for granting COSCO Shipping Captive Insurance this invaluable opportunity to speak. Fellow marine insurance professionals, as an affiliate member of the PPMI, COSCO Shipping Captive remains committed to advancing the synergy between green finance and maritime decarbonization. Today, from the perspective of a Chinese insurer, we will share insights on policy alignment and product innovation synergy, with the hope of sparking further dialogue and collaboration. The primary takeaway I want to highlight is Chinese green finance industry policies demonstrate strategy alignment with PPMI's principles. In January 2025, the National Finance Regulatory Administration issued the implementation plan for high-quality development of green finance in banking and insurance sectors, a milestone guiding Chinese financial sector towards decarbonization. Here are 6 key synergies. The first, shared commitment to low carbon transition. The implementation plan mandates rapid scaling of green finance to achieve Chinese carbon peaking and neutrality goals, in parallel with PPMI's mission to drive green transformation in shipping. The second, emphasis on environmental responsibilities and transparency. The plan requires financial institutions to disclose green strategies, ESG risk management, and progress. Is fully consistent with PPMI's principle of assessment, accountability, enforcement, and transparency. Third, standardized carbon accounting system. The plan proposed to orderly conduct carbon accounting, encouraging banking and insurance institutions to strengthen foundational tasks such as carbon emission data connection and accumulation. These measures follow the association's standardized visual carbon emission and assessment procedures. First, incentivizing industry transition. The plan encourages steadily increasing the proportion of green finance business, encouraging banking and insurance institutions to explore carbon performance-based evaluation, classification, and dynamic management of investment and financing. Gradually optimize portfolio and progressively and orderly reduce the carbon intensity of assets portfolio. These measures align with the association's strategy of providing coverage spots for vessels adopting alternative fuel technologies. The fifth, full process risk management. The plan requires banking and insurance institutions to effectively identify, monitor, and control ESG risks in business operations. Achieving full process risk management, the align with association's methodology for integrating the well-to-wake fuel emission intensity factor into climate alignment score. 6. Global collaboration and standardization. China advocates international cooperation in green finance. The PPMI demonstrates such a platform for cross-border dialogues and standardized practice. Thank you.
Many thanks for sharing those insights with a local perspective. And maybe now, if we are zooming on the role of captive insurers as part of a bigger group, could you maybe share some example of contribution to decarbonization from COSCO Shipping Group? Sorry.
Okay, thank you. COSCO Shipping Group plans sustainable across its global operations, building a green ecosystem through technological innovation, capital deployment, industry alliance, and digitalization such as blockchain AI technology. As the group captive insurer, we are tasked with driving green insurance innovation to accelerate this transition. Shifting from cost-centric to product-centric solution is critical. For example, in April 2024, COSCO Shipping Liners, which is also a sub-company of COSCO Shipping Group, and the Global Shipping Business Network, GSBN, complete a blockchain technology-based pilot program for issuing traceable and verifiable green certificates. Building on this, they developed a container shipping product using green biofuels named HiEco, which can issue qualified emission reduction certificates for climate conscious shippers to meet their demand for environmental friendly transportation. If we could set insurance products under the aforementioned business scenario, this could further empower high-eco shipping service. Shippers pay premium freight fees to support high-eco service while obtaining dual safeguards, including insurance, acquire audited emission reduction certificates through blockchain verification for the ESG disclosure, receive freight cost reduction when emission reduction falls for short of the expectation due to natural disaster or vessel mechanical failures, etc. Insurance companies calculate per voyage carbon emission data based on blockchain, based electronic bill rating and voyage fuel consumption data, then conduct claim adjustment. The business revenue is further invested in green insurance research and development initiatives. Ship owners commit to allocate 100% insurance claim payment to biofuel procurement, and enhancing emission reduction targets in subsequent voyages. This demonstrates the synergy during product innovation with decarbonization. Thank you.
Many thanks again for this. And yeah, very concrete example that are developed in your organization. And I was wondering if you have any final words around those.
Okay, the PPMI and China's implementation plan are highly aligned in objectives, principles, and measures, and fully consist with COSCO Shipping Group's requirement for our company. COSCO Shipping Captive is committed to fully supporting the PPMI and the Chinese industry in deepening exchanges, joining advancing green insurance practice, and promotes the deep integration of global experience in local practice. We warmly welcome the association and all industry peers to visit China for discussion, collaboration to build a green shipping future. Thank you.
Many thanks for this. Yes, and thanks to all the speakers. Now it's time for some question Q&A session. We'll have a look to the chat, but for now it seems that there was not much question in LinkedIn, sorry. So you can still give some more, but we have also some question that I can directly deep dive with the different panelists, of course. So maybe, yes, let me check a bit what we could dig for today. Yes, I think we have maybe mentioned the benefits also of the use of model data and how this can be useful for other reporting frameworks or yeah, legislation basically. But I don't know if any of you would have some more insights to share about how, for example, the use of the model data and PPM in the PPMI methodology could help in the CSRD framework that is in place in the Europe, or if you have any insight to share, one of you, please feel free to do so.
I guess I can try to go first. So given that there was this omnibus thing a few weeks ago, we've yet to figure out whether we in GARD need to report under CSRD, but of course it's a big thing, and then we need to keep track of it, and of course we may well be working with companies, for example reinsurers that are subject to CSRD reporting. But one of our positive discoveries was that with this model data that we're now using for PPMI, we could actually use that for CSRD reporting as well if we be obliged to. So CSRD is somewhat different from PPMI in the sense that it doesn't look at carbon intensity of ships, but rather absolute emissions. But we have those data points in our data sets. So, and again, we can save a lot of time and streamline the process using this same model data.
Morgan, I would like to add that we are having a lot of the discussion with potential signatories. And the fact that the data that we can provide today are of big help for the reporting in other regulatory environment is something extremely welcome, because everybody has to face different reporting in different countries, and to have the ability to have a uniform set of data where you can get this information to has been extremely welcome from our potential signatories and affiliate member too.
Yes. Okay, thanks for this one. There is one question I could have seen in the LinkedIn was, there was the impression from some articles from the media that many people perceive, unfortunately, that the report that was launched so far and the scores were not meeting the IMO requirements for 2023. But it seems also that those scores also reflect the state of the world fleet, which is still also has much room for improvement, according to this person. Do you have any thoughts on this, on the scores that are misaligned with the IMO for ambition for now?
I think that this is a picture of the world fleet. We need to be aware. And exactly because there is this big misalignment, it tells us how urgent action is in this respect. Imagine the situation where you had this score and you were not aware. And as such, the Poseidon Principles are a unique way of getting to this information on one side, because having this commitment you have to do this exercise, and you are yourself as an insurance company aware of what the situation of your client is, and you can entertain dialogue with them on this, because very clearly it will be our client that will pay for this decarbonization journey. It is going to be an expensive and risky one. We can't, of course, do anything on alleviating the financial burden, but we can do a lot on the de-risking side. And as such, the fact that we have access to this score is a unique opportunity to help them in this journey, because we are aware of where we stand. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, I think so. And if anyone wants to add something, please don't hesitate. Yes.
The sad reality is that we are misaligned, right? I think we have to be open and transparent about that. And I think it's also worth to mention that, of course, when we use model data, and in particular, given how many ships we have, our result will in fact tend towards a world fleet average. But the point is not so much the ranking between insurers or exactly what our score is from year to year, right? Or in a given year, but rather our development over time and making sure that we get to where we want to be in 2050.
Yes. Yes. There is another question directly to you, Sigvald, it seems, asking what is the accuracy of the model data compared to actuals?
So when we undertook this benchmarking exercise, or this beauty contest last year, we observed some 1 to 2 percentage points different in our portfolio alignment, which again we felt was pretty acceptable. We did also try to benchmark across different segments, whether we were within an acceptable error of margin, if you will. And again, we saw that the provider we went with actually performed best on nearly all segments.
I will catch you also. Yes. And maybe, just one question also for you, Deng, maybe if you see, in your opinion, what are the challenges ahead for the shipping industry to decarbonize, if you have some insight that you can share. And I think this is a question that would be interesting from the other speakers as well.
Thank you. My personal point of view, the shipping industry faces 2 critical challenges in decarbonization. The first is the policy uncertainty of some countries. The second is the rising
I wonder if you have a connection problem here. We are losing you, it seems.
Sorry.
Now you're back, I think. I think you can go again.
Okay. Yeah. Such as the new tariffs threaten global trade volumes, The primary drive
it seems we have connection problem. I'm sorry about this. Yes, it's just blocking you again.
Okay.
I'm sorry, very sorry. Maybe you can try your last time to see and
okay. I just mentioned the second one is the trade tension. Also, this kind of if the shipping liners shipping companies cannot make profit, this will create their intention to put more money for the decarbonization. This will make it unsustainable. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, sorry for the technical problem, but we hear you well. So, and I don't know if you have anything to add, Patricia or Sigvald, also on the challenge ahead, in your opinion, in terms of shipping decarbonization. Feel free to add anything on that front.
I think that we have already mentioned it during the course of this discussion. Very clearly, the transition is going to be expensive, risky, and without a very big support that will come from the new technological development, it will be really hard. I have a lot of trust in the fact that there are so many actors that are committed to it, and that we all of us are working into that direction.
I think from Garden, we are of course very firm believers of PPMI, but it's of course not the only space in which one can play one's part as far as decarbonization is concerned. So, for example, internally we have a number of working groups trying to sort of untangle the implications of what alternative fuels mean for our members and clients. The maritime transition for seafarers being an important one, which we are very committed to. And last but not least, I think it's also very important to be conscious of the challenges that lie in sort of adapting liability and compensation regimes for the advancement of new alternative fuels. So I think our industry really needs, our insurance industry really needs to address the potential barriers that lie in the legal and regulatory frameworks, as these will come very sharply into focus when and if, or actually when, maritime accidents happen.
Yes, thanks for this, and I think it also echoes with whatever is happening this week, in particular at MEPC 83 meeting in London, where can be part of those conversation as well. There is one more question from the LinkedIn, which is about saying that PPMI is a measure for insurers, and asking do we see any evidence that the brokers are using these element scores of insurers to advise ship owners, or any evidence that this will become a competitive differentiator between insurers?
I am happy to take this question. I think it's an excellent question. The decarbonization is part of any meetings that we have with our shipping clients. This is very clearly top of their agenda, and they want to know how we can support about it. It's very clear that brokers are part of this discussion, because they are those that intermediate the relationship with the client. And the fact that we have so many preeminent brokers that are part of our affiliate group is a very clear sign for it. Brokers are those that are keeping the relationship with the client, and they can't afford to be out of what are really the issue and the trouble of their client. Brokers are in general very, very close to their own clients. Will it become a competitive differentiator between insurers? Probably yes. Because there will be the time where all insurers will have to provide a solution. Because and as such, those that will be ready to provide this solution to the market, they will be in a better position than those that are staying behind.
Yes. Thanks, Patricia. Maybe we have 5 minutes left. So if you have, I will ask each of you if you have any final word to share with us, or just any general final word, and also any message for potential organization that would like to join. Yes, so maybe we can start with you think.
Okay, thank you. We see unity makes the strength, especially when we are in binary era. Join us when we work together, we all become stronger and we can overcome all challenges better. Creating rules together is the key to lasting progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sigvald, if you want to go next. Any final word or general or with joining the initiative as you see fit?
Yeah, I hadn't thought too much about this. It comes a bit out of the blue, Morgan. So, but I think maybe I'll try with a kind of a personal call for joining PPMI. I've been involved since it was founded in, was it December 21? And I think it's been a very exciting journey because I've got to know people like Patricia, and the environment we've managed to create among the signatories in PPMI, allowing us to exchange ideas, knowledge around methodology, where our industry is going, I think is incredibly valuable. So I would, for those that have yet to join PPMI, I would strongly encourage that they do. And again, now that we use model data, I think we've hopefully, Patricia, removed one of the hurdles that some of our prospects saw in terms of joining PPMI. So it's a fun group to be part of.
I have now, being the third, a little bit in a difficult position, because I would have liked to have said what both you said and also Sigvald said. What I can subscribe 100%, it's unity that make the strength. This is a unique group to be part of. I have met amazing people, and only for this it was worthwhile, this journey. But I think that there is also something very personal that any person can get out of this, and it's the level of knowledge sharing that you have as being a member of the Poseidon Principle. In our daily job, we don't have access to this type of information. And the Global Maritime Forum has provided a unique opportunity for us as insurance industry to become aware of what the real challenges are. And I keep saying this has been, I think, one of the most amazing journey in my professional life.
Many thanks for all this great feedback and insight on your side. I think we're almost done now. I don't see any more questions in the chat, but this chat also will stay live for some more moments, which is the magic of LinkedIn in some ways. So if you have questions, you can still ask there, and we will answer as the secretariat later on. Feel free also to join us if you have, and reach us if you have more questions, and visit our website, and we will be happy to support. And thanks a lot again for being with us today and spending some of your morning or afternoon around. And yes, thank you very much, everyone. And
thank you everybody. Bye, Sigvald. Bye.